Dreaming of the future just became devastating. It's about two Argonauts who don't really like each other due to psychological reasons. Have to go to work. Well, I have to do a drug test and then go to work, so I have to speak really fast. And then what happens next is that they start to like each other, right? Whatever psychological reasons I won't get into. Whatever, we'll move on. I'm in a time crunch, and then what happens next is that they have to crash land on a planet and they're in space, but only one of them has to be left behind. No, he did it on purpose. The author, the way it's written, you can tell that he obviously wrote it like that on purpose. Like, he knows that it's a classic trope. One of you have to be left behind, so he did it here on purpose. I think it's very in your face, and yeah, he's talking to like a little robot. You know, the ship is a robot. You know, AI, like the one from Space Odyssey, except good. So imagine. So this book is basically Star Wars. Like, just imagine Space Odyssey, and he had a friend with him, and there was also maybe a lot of robots around, so synthetics, right? And the imagine the ship is good, not evil. That's what we're reading, and now they're crash landing. He keeps thinking about Mads. It's very pro LGBTQ, which is pretty cool. It's just interesting how it's a little dramatic, you know, because yeah, I just don't read. I've never really read a book like that. Interesting. It's still good. This is the best. I think this might be the best short story out of the book. It's the last one. Now it's his turn. But Mads, I'm not you, he's thinking. His name is, I forgot his name. But his friend's name is Heracles. And then the main character's name is, I don't remember. No, he tells the Argo. Oh, but Mads, I'm not you, he thinks. No, he tells the Argo. He blows the crumbs off the carnation out of his hand. The carnation disappears into a vent, carrying away everything Mads stood for. I'm sorry. Clank, clank. Two heavy hammers flick down. Flora. Click. A trigger squeezes down. Bang! Two gauge shells tear through his stomach. What? And Jason tumbles to his side, letting go of his commanding seat. That's his name. Jason. He turns around to two smoking barrels. At the end of the smoke, Heracles. He betrayed us. That's how I would have wrote it too. And that's how I would have wrote it too. I would have done it way earlier. If I ever interviewed the author, I'll tell you the way I would have done it. Or maybe I'll just write it. You brought this upon yourself. Heracles tells Jason. So let me tell you, Heracles and Jason obviously represent Anakin and Obi-Wan during episode 3 when they were having the lava fight. That's who they represent, except without lightsabers, without Jedi shit. Just put those characters in a different universe. That's what's going on. The lava fight scene. In space. Yeah. The smoke covers his eyes. Jason gags out blood and shouts, Argo, activate the harpies. The Argo says, Commander, I won't have the energy to. Now, damn it! The Argo sets off its thrusters and the swift force jerks the ship. The Argo strays from the pocket and Heracles stumbles into a control panel. Turn them off now, Argo, now! Jason shouts. The harpies seal their fiery mouths and the solar wind from the sun shove the ship back over the LZ landing zone. Heracles falls forward and rams into the commanding seat. The TP-82 flies out of his hands and Jason catches it. Clink, clank, clink, bang. Jason pulls down on the secondary trigger and the cartridge leaves his hand. The cartridge lodges the cartridge lodges itself into Heracles' eye, and he screams in pain. Damn. Before he can search for a medical kit, Jason lunges at him. They hurl off the floor and wrestle in the air. They're back in the ringer, but this time, it will end in sudden death. They are chucked into different modules as adrenaline magnifies their desperation for survival, and they push each other in the air. This is how I would have wrote it. Nice. They made crushing chunks, stinging kicks, and sleazy curses. At first, Jason triumphs over Heracles and batters his ribcage with his knees, but Heracles succumbs him and cracks his teeth with his inflamed knuckles. Module after module, minute after minute, meter by meter, they continue to mangle one another while the Argo realigns itself with the LZ. Running on a few percentages of energy and approaching the Golden Fleece, the Argo dims the emergency arrows. The behemoths planet shrouds the dying ship in darkness, and Jason and Heracles fight in obscurity. They hit more objects and then each other with the little light left. At this point, they will maim themselves into wheezing corpses and incinerate in the planet's atmosphere, so Heracles changes it up. He pulls away from Jason and leaps for a floor ladder. He descends the ladder and enters the simple gates, the mainframe. Jason rushes over to the ladder and stomps on the ladder's top railing. Heracles vanishes into the dark brain of the Argo. Argo, where's Jason at? Jason asks the ship. Can't comply. On restricted mode. Argo replies. Not now. Can't comply. On restricted mode. He dries his bleeding gums with his arm patch and turns off a cooling tube from the wall. He drops into the mainframe and lime dots on pink lines bounce around him. He conceals his mouth, muffling his panting. He sneaks across a dark floor and hangs the tube below. The mainframe is home to many mainframes. Ebonic computers, half the size of him, encase him as a miniature city. Screens flash off, buttons glow, engines whine, and fans slow down. All of the lines flow along the low ceiling, and the dots dash into the computers. You know what's going on? The bad guy, Heracles, he's probably a secret agent meant to like stop him, but they've gone too far. They're too close to the new planet that's supposed to replace Earth, even though they're on a spaceship that already replaced Earth. Where am I? He dries his bleeding gums. He conceals. He drops into the mainframe, and lime dots on pink lines bounce around him. Ooh, that's cool. He conceals his mouth, muffling his panting. He sneaks across the dark floor and hangs the tube below. The mainframe is home to many mainframes. Ebonic computers, half the size of him, encase him as a miniature city. Screens flash off. Okay. All of the lines flow along the low ceiling and the dots dash into the computers. His falter steps echo in the mainframe, and he checks behind the computers. He's looking for a moving shadow. I'm out of time. Crash! He bashes the top of the computer with the tube. Lime sparks glide past his ears, and he catches a fleeting shadow in the corner of his eye. The vents throughout the ship switch off. Says he would like to run for. Okay. Where was I? Okay. He bashes the top light past his ears, and he catches a fleeting shadow in the corner of his eye. The vents throughout the ship switch off from the damaged computer, and the air thins out. Growing tired, he cloaks himself in the shadows and crawls on the floor. A layer of darkness murks over him, and he slithers towards Heracles' direction. He snags a fractured optical drive carrier which flew off a smashed mainframe and carries it with him. Heracles peeks over a computer and scans the mainframe. He loses sight of Jason and he crouches down. He sneaks to the edge of the simple gates, keeping his back to a ladder that leads up to the logistic carrier Saius. A closed hatch separates the simple gates and Cyrus. Emergency lights pierce through the edges of the hatch. Once he enters Saius, he can access Thessaly and take off in Athena. Chink. A heavy sound echoes in the darkness. What is Jason dragging against the floor? Chink, chink, chink. It booms louder as the sound approaches him. I know what you're up to. His back reaches the ladder and the sound silences. Play the part. Swish, thud. On his left, the tube launches from the darkness, and Heracles catches it by the tip. Oh. Jason's arm shakes as he grips the bottom of it. I know your game, Jason, Heracles tells it. He snatches the tube almost too easily, and Jason's arm retreats into the darkness. Come out, he tells him. Wait, that pipe was weightless, like he didn't try to. Swish, crack. An optical drive carrier darts at him from the right and pummels his head. His knees buckle from the hard hit and he collapses by the ladder. A hot sensation runs down his face and blood stains his suit. His remaining vision blurs out and throbbing pain inflicts his head. His neck stiffens and his mind is thrown into a frenzy. He cracked my skull. A blurry figure emerges from the darkness and takes the tube from him. They climb up the ladder and open the hatch. The lights of Saius radiate on them like sunlight after a rainfall. Heracles' speech slurs up, but he manages to articulate, if only you listened. I did, Jason, the blurry figure replies. No, you didn't. Oh, wait, what? Huh? Only assumed. I knew it was going to end up like this. Either me or you. Never had to be. Then why did he act like everyone else? Jason enters Saius and seals the hatch. The world around Heracles rotates madly as if his head is a spinning top. I can't die. My family. He grabs the ladders, his bottom, railing, and pushes all of his weight on his ankles. He stands up with shaky legs and his spinning world grows too violent for him and he vomits. More than that, he falls back and bangs his head against the ground. More blood gushes from his cracked skull and the only thing he can do is breathe. He rests his head on the floor and stares at the mainframes as he waits to bleed out. A thought tugs at his heart, but he shoves it away. I won't die for him. The same thought returns and stabs his heart this time. His heart aches in pain. I'm afraid to do that. The thought digs deeper into him and stings his conscience. But it drives deeper into him and causes more pain. But deeper. Fuck. The thought consumes his conscience. But I'm not Christ. It's guilt that bothers him. So what about my family? A gape. Jason stammers along Saius with pain, jagging at his elbows and knees. I'm not dying here today, especially for that guy. He slips and trips across the drenched round module. Damn sprinklers and the arrows flash next to him. I should spit out my gum. It's like giving me a headache. Elbows and knees, I'm not dying here today, especially. He slips and trips across the drenched round module, damn sprinklers, and the arrows flash next to him. He steers around tumbled power distribution boxes and disconnect assemblies. He hops over busted laptops and spare satellite parts. The adrenaline wears off and worry replaces it. He leans against the wall, which is full of complicated electrical and technological systems, and tears up. I don't want to keep this up. If I make it off this ship, then what? More people like Heracles trying to stop me? When can I, for once, make peace with this world? He rubs his hands through the hologram arrows and fights to keep his eyes open. I can't give up. Oh, there you go. Fluttering wings interrupt his thoughts. A white dove scuds over him and flaps its wings to the end of the module. The animal habitat must have been. A horde of doves hurtle out of a damaged vent and cluttered the module. Looking for a way out, they distract him with their disconnected chirps, and shedding feathers. Long enough for swish, a door slides open before him and seals him off from the rest of the module. No, he turns around and swish, another door closes behind him, entrapping him as a prisoner. The module's speakers switch on and Jason inspects the walls for an escape. As he breaks apart wall grating with his bare hands, Heracles hops onto the speaker. What? Heracles trails off. You're crazy like the rest of the world, Jason says. Clink. He tears off a bar of the grating and slits his palms. I'm not like the world that, Heracles explains. You are cruel and brutal, Jason responds. Clank. He rips off another bar and rests his sore hands. I may not agree with your way of life, but Heracles says, but Jason cuts him off. Why treat me like I'm always doing something wrong? My faith demands of it from me can't change it. Clank. I can't tell if he's dying. I can't. Is he supposed to be dying or something? I'm not sure. Alright, I should go, to be honest. I still have 10 pages and, well, I want to use my time effectively. So, I really want to read it though. I think I'm gonna finish it on my own, unfortunately. I wish I didn't have to do that. I need a bookmark. Send me bookmarks. I need bookmarks.